Hi, this is George Alger. Welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be speaking about the flow of donated blood. And joining us is Diane Frantela with the nonprofit Vitalant, which is a blood services agency. Welcome, Diane. And can you give us a little description of Vitalant?
Sure. Thank you, George, for having me today. Vitalant is a national nonprofit blood services provider. We operate in 28 states across the nation, and we are in the business of saving lives, excuse me. Our job is to collect the blood needed and distribute the blood to the hospitals all across the country for patients who need it, who find themselves in various different circumstances where they need a blood transfusion.
Good. Now, I'm much more familiar with the Red Cross as fulfilling a similar service. Is there an association?
There's no direct association between our two organizations. However, with regard to blood collection, we do the same thing. We're both nonprofit blood collection agencies. We both host blood drives, have blood centers across the country, and we're both in the business of saving lives.
And I think you've both been around a long time.
We have. Our company's been around since 1943. So we have operated under various different names over the years, but it's the same company. So we were Tri-Counties Blood Services, then we were United Blood Services, where most people know us as, because we were United Blood Services for a long time. And then a couple of years ago, we became Vitalant, but it's all the same company, same people, same mission.
Very good. Let's talk now about the flow of donated blood. What happens after a person's donated their blood, and how does it get to the recipient?
Really good question. So there's two different ways people can donate blood. They can either come into one of our blood centers and they can donate there, or we operate many mobile blood drives in the areas where we go to businesses, churches, civic organizations, any high schools and colleges, any place where we can actually set up a mobile blood drive by either bringing our blood mobiles, or we can set up an indoor mobile blood center in any location like that. So the person goes to the blood center, or they go to the mobile blood drive. They give their donation, and there's of course there's a process for that. To give their donation, the blood that they donate goes back to our lab in Ventura. So we are the Central Coast region for Vitalant, and so our main lab is in Ventura. So all the blood from San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties that's collected comes back to our lab in Ventura. And there the blood is processed. And by that we mean the blood components are separated. So if you donate a unit of whole blood, you can save as many as 3 lives, because there are 3 different blood components that will come out of that one donation. So in our lab in Ventura is where all of that is processed. The lab will also send out the test tubes for each donation. So every single donation that is collected, either in the blood center or at the mobile blood drives, is tested for various different bloodborne diseases. So that unit cannot go out into circulation until all of that testing is done. That's done in our lab in Scottsdale, Arizona. So there's a little bit of a turnaround time. Once the blood's been tested, separated, the different components, it's given the go-ahead to go out into circulation. And then it goes right next door to what we call our hospital services department, which is basically our delivery department. And those are the people that keep track of the inventory. So once the blood's all tested, ready to roll, it goes into either a freezer or a refrigerator in the hospital services department, depending on what component it actually is. And then those are the folks that are responsible for fulfilling the orders, basically, from the hospital. Hospitals are our customers. So hospitals have regular needs for blood that they need to have on their shelves. And then, of course, there are times when unexpected things happen, so that they may have an emergency need for blood at the hospitals. So those folks inventory everything, and they have a very elaborate sort of tracking system for where the blood goes, where the blood is needed. And we service 25 hospitals in the Central Coast area. and they manage that inventory. Blood components have a shelf life. So if you donate whole blood and then that whole blood is separated out into red cells, which is the most transfused component of blood, that unit of red cells only has a shelf life of 42 days. So you donate, it goes to the lab, the components are separated, the testing goes out, that takes a couple of days, and then it goes and it's ready for delivery. So that 42 days really gets cut down a little bit just by the testing and processing time. So the hospital services department, again, is responsible for managing that inventory and making sure that we don't ever waste a unit of blood, if you will. You know, they want to get it out in the field, out to the hospitals while it, you know, before it expires. So they have a really challenging job in that department. So it's basically our donor center, which is where the phlebotomy takes place, where the draw takes place, then the lab, then our hospital services department, and then it goes to the hospital. Once it's at the hospital, that's when it becomes available for patients in need in the hospital.
Very good. Diane, is there a simple explanation for what you refer to as blood cells? In other words, how are blood cells different from blood?
So yeah, that's a really good question. Most people don't realize that if you give a unit of whole blood, that whole blood has different components that make up that blood, that make up that unit. So in that blood, you're going to have, there's plasma, there's red cells, and there's platelets, basically. And so what our lab technicians do, which is fascinating to watch actually, is they take that unit of whole blood, they put it in a centrifuge, they're able to separate out those components through kind of an, you know, elaborate and really interesting process. And then each of those components can go to a different patient based on their need. So red cells are the most in demand blood component. So they always want to make sure we have enough red cells in all blood types available on our cells so that that will be available for patients. Platelets, again, platelets is a longer donation. That is something that we can't do on our mobile blood drives, for instance. That can only be done in a blood center. Platelets are used very often for cancer patients, and they have a much shorter shelf life than the red cells. So platelets only have a 7-day shelf life. So they really need to get those out the door quickly and to patients who need them. And then plasma is the third component, and that component has the longest shelf life because it can be flash frozen and saved for a year. That has a 1-year shelf life. And that's also used for cancer patients, burn victims, in some cases for people who have chronic blood diseases, things like that.
Okay. And speak about the kinds of persons that can donate blood, meaning is anyone able to donate blood, or is it really restricted to certain healthy people?
Yeah, excellent question. So healthy people, definitely. We always want people to be feeling healthy and well when they donate. But there are reasons that would what we call defer people from being able to donate. And there's a variety of those reasons. For the younger kids, we work with high school and colleges. There's height and weight requirements. Your iron level has to be at a certain level. Travel, in some cases, where you've traveled to could defer you from being able to donate blood. So there's a process before you actually donate where you fill out a health history questionnaire, and they ask about all of those things beforehand to determine eligibility. And
Okay.
once they determine your eligibility, then you're good to go.
All right. Well, we're just about out of time here, Diane. I'm wondering if you have a summating message for the viewers, and is there a website that viewers could go to for more information?
Sure. The one thing we always like to let potential donors know is that every 2 seconds in this country, someone needs a blood transfusion, whether that be for a trauma, a natural disaster, childbirth, cancer, heart surgery. There's all different reasons why people might need a blood transfusion, and that could happen to you at any moment in your life. Somebody in your family or yourself might need a life-saving blood transfusion. So we really, really rely on our volunteer blood donors. We love our donors. Only about 10% of the eligible people actually donate blood. So we need to keep the blood on the shelves. So, please please visit our website at www.vitalant.org. All kinds of information there about some of the things we talked about today. You'll be able to find a blood center or a blood drive near you if you're interested in donating. And then of course you can always contact us with any questions. We'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Diane. We're going to wrap things up now.
Thank you very much, George, for having me. Appreciate it.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.